Batman, issue 6, legacy number 934, Matt Fraction writing with Jorge Jimenez on the art. So, let's just get this out of the way, right? Was it Zeller, is her name? I want to say?
Zeller, yep.
So, Dr. Zeller, end of last issue, right, heard Damian call Bruce Wayne father. Or, to be more specific, she heard Robin call Bruce Wayne dad. That is very important that he's Robin in the scene, but Bruce Wayne's just Bruce Wayne. That's important for the dynamic here. And I'm just going to say it. Either she is pretending to have not figured it out, or she has been written to be too dumb. It's one or the other.
So I think she's pretending not to figure it out because of what gets revealed in the epilogue.
Yeah, and to make it clear what I'm saying here is that the opening pages of this issue make it clear that as far as she is, admitting here, she knows that Bruce Wayne's son is Robin, right? But she is not apparently put two and two together that means Bruce Wayne is Batman. She instead, and to be fair, the art here in the first few pages is great. It's all the 8-panel grid with them just sort of awkwardly looking away and not looking at each other, and then eventually tries to talk and she kind of starts talking instead. Like all of that. And then, like, her being this awkward thing of, like, I'm not going to judge your parenting skills by letting your son be Robin, right? That's what it's all about. But there's a point where she says, and I'm sure, like, I'm not in danger because it's just me and you that know that I know, and I assume that you'll tell, pointy ears, like, he'll tell Batman, and I'm like, you've not figured...
Like she does this, too.
Yeah. You've not figured out, or at least you're pretending not to know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. So, obviously, yes, I agree. The ending scene does kind of make me second guess what she knows or thinks or whatever, but we'll get to that. But throughout this first scene, all I was thinking was, okay, are you seriously trying to convince me that this scientist who is developing brain-altering technology doesn't even ponder the idea that Bruce Wayne might in fact be Batman?
She's like a neuroscientist. It is literally like it's not brain surgery. That's literally what she does.
Yep.
Right? Like that's what she studies. So I do like though too where he says, what you learned tonight put you in great danger. And it's one of the panels on the 8 grid and it's a beat. She looks at him and is like, well, no offense, Mr. Wayne, but between the Moto ninjas and the bird woman with swords, I'm well past great danger.
Yep.
So like just her whole vibe tells me that Fraction's writing her as being willfully ignorant at this point, Yep.
And of course, when Bruce goes home, he's like, Damian, and Damian's like, I know, father. And Bruce just comes up and like punches the punching bag in half, and it's like, oh no, you effed up, Damian, right? You made a monumental thing. So like he's pissed, right? And there's a little moment here where he's chewing out Damian, where Ghost Alfred in his head like says Master Wayne, and he's like, not now, don't start. Just such a good moment. It felt like Alfred's there to try and balance out his temper in his head, but he's like, no, not now. Like I need to be mad right now because he messed up.
Yeah. And I was thinking at the beginning, it's like maybe Bruce is taking it too far, but however, they constantly are talking about you don't address each other. Oh, I just got like cramp from playing football. Mid-sentence, that's fun. They address each other by code names and whatnot. So he, by all intents and purposes, when he's not in the suit, that should be Mr. Wayne, right? So
all the other mob bosses, including Penguin, are pissed at Hugo Strange, and this leads to later on where Hugo's unleashed his monster men during an attack. But there's also further advancements of the plot with the kid who caught Vandal Savage planting evidence at the crime scene, so they go to see Bullock and try and give him that, and Bullock's like, oh, you definitely caused something here, but like this will never hold up in Gotham, like he's like, what if we get something to corroborate it? And he's like, hey, like the officer who survived that night died in hospital suspiciously, so you two may want to watch your backs. So it definitely feels kind of dire situation wise, but they're stringing this plot along. I assume eventually either this will become very relevant, or maybe Batman will come to see it. Perhaps he'll want to have this evidence for something. But regardless, that's going on. But yeah, so we get this sequence where the monster men are attacking this like base of operations from one of the gangsters, Tozuki, who's in the previous scene. And like there's like a cleaning lady who's clearly just innocent and like hoping Batman shows up. And when he does, she's very like thankful, and she's like, "Oh, like I hoped you'd hear me. Like I know you have like ears everywhere, right?"
I do like that, and they said that's why she never says Batman, because he's always listening.
Mm.
And I was just like, yeah, we've heard about that with mob bosses and Superman, right? That they don't say his name because they don't want to bring the attention.
Yeah.
But that's the first that I've heard it with Batman.
Well, I think it's not actually that true with Batman. I think it's just her being like superstitious because Batman's built up his lore so good that she's taking it very seriously.
Yeah. regardless of the reason, right? They believe it's true that Batman can hear everything, So I do like that. And the Jimenez, and I think Jimenez has his own colors. But the blue cape has really been popping through these 6 issues, and especially on that scene where he comes to save her with the new bat reel, just the way that the light hits it, it makes him stand out more than the gray does, right? Like, so yeah, it looks so good.
Yeah, and then he uses the bat blades, he fights the monster man, all that's going on, whilst there's thugs on the outside firing weapons into the building. And we get some nice panels of the Batmobile coming in and Batman jumping down to take some of them out. So that's your action sequence for the issue, and it's funny because like I think this issue is a really fun issue that advances all the plot lines. I think what it has going against it is that the last issue was such a well-focused, perfectly paced issue that it just pales a little bit by comparison because everything's so like fragmented with all the little things. The case in point, the next sequence is a very different thing. It's Tim coming by the Batcave to tell Batman that he's going to be quitting for a while because he feels bad about lying to his partner and he doesn't want to reveal who he's robbing life to Bernard, so instead he's going to just quit being Robin for a while. And but Batman's very pleasant about it. There's the awkward hug and all the rest of it. Perhaps the more interesting reaction is that when Tim tries to go talk to Damien is being a little shit and calls him a traitor,
a quitter. Which, again, some of the personification of Damien, which is all over the place in the DCU. Sometimes he's written like a young adult, like in Batman and Robin. Right here, I feel he's being written a little bit younger. I get the sentiment, but I feel like Fraction's voice is a little bit off. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of this is maybe that they're trying to compensate for the fact that he feels guilty about what he did, because he did mess up. So he's like, his childness is coming out a little bit more harshly than it otherwise would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But it's like, yeah, what a night. Like, all this shit's happened. Because this is meant to still be the same night as the date night, all of this.
Yeah.
So, the final sequence, though, which is after the title page, because I was like, wait, is it the end of the book already? Because the title page is quite late. But it's like, no, there's another big scene at the end, but just one scene. And there's basically, it's Dr. Zeller going back to her lab, and there's a voice talking to her in like the empty, like the negative space, so just the black panels with the green text. And it almost looks, like a computer talking to her. It's got that computer font. It's very, like, she's talking to HAL 9000 or something like that. Now, that's obviously not what she's doing, but it gives you that impression. And it's, the conversation is very interesting. It's clearly meant to be building to a surprise of who she's talking to, because the voice is saying things like, oh, how did your date night go? And she's like, oh, you're getting a bit personal here. So on and so on. So you get the sense that this is not supposed to be like a personal relationship, but like the voice, whoever this is trying to push it into more personal realms. But asking, will you see him again? Did you like Bruce Wayne? He talks about getting lonely sometimes, and all that kind of thing. And then the reveal on the final page, and keep in mind she's been using her brain tech to try and rehabilitate villains, is what we've been doing with her story. The final page is inside a tank with cables connected to his mouth, and that's how he's talking through a computer, seemingly. It appears to be the Joker in this big vial of liquid, with this brain thing on his head.
Yeah, but like, it's the Joker, but he doesn't have the build of the Joker, right?
He looks bloated.
Like,
I think that's fair to say.
yeah, Joker's wiry, right? This guy does not look wiry. Now, he has the pale skin, judging from being in this tank and whatever. And it looks like green hair or whatever it is. And the red nails and whatever. So, yeah, I thought Joker, but I feel like something's off, right? But I really love this reveal here.
Yeah, well,
like,
I think the something off is basically just whoever he's changed because of what she's doing.
Yeah.
And if she's going to try and prove this stuff is effective, then what villain to do it on that would make a huge impact other than the Joker? I've rehabilitated the Joker. He's a sane, normal human being now, potentially. That's kind of a big sales pitch.
Yeah. The first piece that got me is in the dialogue that's all computerized. There's a ha. And I went, uh-oh.
Yeah.
They're not doing it. And then you keep going. And when he calls, Bruce Wayne, he goes, oh, yes, doctor, I did manage to reach out. I haven't heard back, but it's only a matter of time. After all, he is my very best friend. And, oh, my God, the creepiness with the Joker in that tank, or who we're surmising to be the Joker, rather.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an important exchange here.
Yeah.
You gave the last bit of it, but I think it's very important that he talks about being lonely, and she says, what about that friend you were telling me about? Were you able to reach out? Maybe I could schedule a visit. And he says, oh, yes, doctor, I did manage to reach out. I haven't heard back yet, but it's only a matter of time. After all, he's my very best friend. Now, part of me thinks he's talking about Batman, because Joker has this, fascination with Batman, and maybe in some way he's orchestrating some of the things going on to lure Batman here, which would maybe suggest that he's not been as cured as maybe she thinks that she's doing so far.
Yes. And, well, she also mentions that he burns out of the titanographene, which is the stuff that Bruce gave her on the date, faster than anybody else does. Right, so that also, there's something else going on there, because you see her fitting a new piece on to put that device that she created back on him in the tank. So, yeah, so there's something clearly going on here. And then I'm also trying to remember, in continuity, when's the last time we've seen the Joker? So it's been a minute, right? If we're counting Hattush, and he had his jaw broken. And this is taking place after all that.
If we're counting Hattush, it's not been that long, technically, but...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, this takes place after all of that, and we don't know what happened there quite yet. But yeah, I can't remember. But no, him being all bulky here too. I think if that's where they're going, right, we have this rehabilitated Joker, and he looks different to show, like, this is not the same guy, you know what I mean? I think that'd be cool too.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, the computerized text and the way he's speaking made me think, oh, we're doing a computer version of the Joker where he's he's in the internet and he's manipulating things from a different kind of playing field almost. So I'm curious to see where we go with that and where that bubbles up to, because we've got a lot going on right now. We got Vandal Savage's commissioner to deal with. We've got, the various villains and what they're up to. We've got this stuff with Zeller and the Joker and the tank. And we got the stuff going on with the Robins, the stuff with Batman being kind of framed for crimes so that they can take him out. There's a lot of moving parts to this run. And it's been very enjoyable because of that, where each issue feels kind of like a full part of the story. That said, though, some of the issues feel a lot more focused and enjoyable overall, like last issue, whereas this one's a little bit more of a collection of scenes as opposed to a really focused thing that feels like it all fits together. So, I'm okay with that. I think, I don't know whether, I suspect that he's got, Fraction's got plans for Tim long term. So I'm not sure what we're doing with that quite yet. I know some people maybe reacted a bit strongly to, oh, he's given up being Robin, I don't like this. I'm like, oh, yeah, but this is only the start of the story and he's clearly got plans for him. I don't think that's a big deal.
How many times Dick stopped being Robin before he became Nightwing? There's so many times. It's like a rite of passage at this point, And the other thing too is that Damian has a crumpled letter from Gotham University as well. So their whole conversation with Tim and Damian about living a life outside of being Batman's son, right?
Could you read
Bruce Wayne's son, Batman's son.
Yeah, could you read on the letter if it was like a acceptance or a rejection?
Let me see.
Because I'm thinking it's a rejection, and that's why
acceptance.
he's upset. Maybe that's what adding to why he's in a pissy mood.
Let's see. No, it says, we're pleased to inform you that your application to Gotham University has been accepted. It says congratulations. And then when you look at the letterhead, it says Gotham University because it kind of trails off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's almost like one of those things, like he's having an existential crisis as well, that like the guy who, like, more or less, he looks up to all the Robins at a certain level. And I feel like him seeing Tim take a door out, you know, scares Damian, because now that makes it a possibility. So I do like that two different writers are kind of playing with who is Damian Wayne outside of being Robin, outside of being the son of Batman. And just their juxtaposition here and him having like that, he doesn't know what to do, right? He's at this crossroads, and him holding himself in the room, not opening the door for Tim and whatnot. So, yeah, I do feel like this is a good, like, in the trade, this is the last issue, right? It leaves a very episodic, where it doesn't necessarily wrap things up.
No.
But it's a good to start new things as well.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't necessarily feel that prominent versus any other issue, because this isn't in arcs in the same way that a lot of other books are. But it does feel like they intentionally put this reveal of the Joker at the end of issue 6, because there'd be a big cliffhanger at the end of the first trade. That's what it does feel like, for sure.
Yep.
But no, I mean, it's very well crafted. Jimenez's art is really good throughout. I like you've got that pacing in that opening scene, which is one of my favorite scenes of the whole book, honestly, is that awkward silence and then the conversation between Bruce and Zeller. But I really like as well, like when the fighting the monster men happens, there's a lot of white negative space, which makes it feel kind of old school. It feels like it's like a more of a, like the art style is still more modern, but the way it's presented feels almost like a 70s book or an 80s book might show it, kind of thing. So no, I'm still digging it a lot. So as much as I'm saying it's not as like amazing as last issue, it's still a great issue. I think. Yeah. So
Faction's really doing some good work with Batman, I have to say, because there hasn't been an issue that I've disliked. Just the ones that I've definitely liked more than the others.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I think this idea of like Joker in this situation where it's like, she thinks she might have like helped cure him, and maybe he is a little altered than normal, but if he is talking about Batman being his best friend and wanting to draw him in, it still feels like, oh, there's going to be like an unhealthy obsession quality to that that's maybe presents itself a little differently to the normal, I'm just going to try and provoke Batman as much as possible, even although he may just end up be doing that anyway. Maybe he's just provoking him in different ways.
It also, like, I don't know how much how familiar you are with like Simpsons stuff. I don't know if you're a big Simpsons watcher back in the day, but there was an episode where Homer is being like Mr. Burns' assistant and finally gets enough of him and like yells at him, and he might even shove him down, and then Burns ends up becoming like this weird devotee to Homer. And I kind of feel like this version of Joker, that would make him seem that much more dangerous, where he becomes like this Batman fanboy. And it's just like, oh yeah, I want what's best for Gotham, and what's best for Gotham is best for Batman type weird twisted thing. And I could almost see that with here, where he's like, oh, Batman's my best friend, so I got to give him what he wants, and it's not what Batman wants, right? Not from the Joker, at least.
Yeah, I wonder if we bring at any point, like say Dick and Babs into the story, not because in like a big way, but just if we're dealing with the idea of Tim and Damian at being at different stages of what's my life outside of being Robin for Batman, it would make a lot of sense for Dick and Babs to eventually like at least be spoken to in the context of that story, because they are older and they've kind of moved away from Batman to an extent. They've got their own independent lives. So yeah,
they have an identity outside of it, which I feel like that's what Tim's striving for. But he might need to take the break, because I do feel like Babs and Dick also both took breaks from being their respective superheroes when they needed to. So again, it just feels like I saw a lot of people upset with it. And I was just like, no, man, this is character growth. I'll take an attempted character growth instead of keeping them stale.
Yeah,
and just him having,
I wonder if the disappointment partly though comes from the this is for Bernard, and I feel like most people haven't been that enthusiastic about Bernard as a character, and it feels like that relationship's not been like a part of like a really great story. It's been kind of in like this little mini hero there that's, you know, not been that popular kind of thing. You know, it's not like, you know, like, oh, there's been a great romance between two characters where he's been like the, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example to compare it to, but
no,
I can't.
It definitely could be, but I mean, for the emotional crux of the story though, it still works regardless of it. Regardless if it was, you know, if Tim's parents were still around and like the parents asking questions of Bruce, like what happened to our son, I still think it lands the same way. Where it's like, I don't want to have to lie to people I care about. You know, and it's something that I have to come to terms with on my own, and that means taking a break from putting my life on the line all the time. Which again, I like that as a story point for a young hero.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think it really matters like who Bernard is necessarily. He's just kind of the conduit for what the decision Tim is making, at least at this point in the story. I'd be surprised if we even see much of Bernard at any point during the story that Tim goes through in this book. So. I don't know. We'll see what they do with it, but I thought it was a pretty good issue. Still, I'm really looking forward to this book every month.
Me too.
So, what are you giving Batman number 6?
I'm giving us an 8.
I think I will give it. Well, I think I'll go with the 8.5 on this one as well. Actually, I really find it a very pleasant read each month, even if this wasn't as completely focused and like, I don't want to say perfect, that's maybe a too strong a word, but like last month's issue was really, really good.